your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, hello, everybody, and I hope you come along, and thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you, as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief box.
That's right.
So we're kicking this thing off on this Friday and wondering where we are in the basketball season. We'll talk about Indiana's loss to Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. On the program today, Todd Leary to help us do that. We'll also talk with Drew Davis. A little IHSA action going on this weekend. Some big games going on. We'll talk about all those. Before we get to everything else, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 15th day of March 2019. Indiana drops their first game in the Big Ten tournament, 79-75 to Ohio State, as Ohio State will be the one advancing to take on Michigan State. In other Big Ten action, Nebraska defeats Maryland 69-61. Minnesota needed overtime to beat Penn State 77-72. And Iowa over Illinois 83-62. Those are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 15th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
Nebraska, a little surprising result yesterday as they knock off Maryland in the Big Ten tournament. Nebraska now with 2 wins up there in Chicago. Not sure that they can do enough short of winning the Big Ten tournament to get in. But I don't know. They get to the championship game. I don't know what their record is, but if they get to the championship game, that's going to turn things around, because if they won their last game of the regular season, or if they won the last couple, that would be a nice little win streak over some very good teams, because now that was a quality win yesterday for them. You beat a Maryland team. Was Maryland ranked? Surely they were.
Yeah, 21.
So you're going to be playing ranked teams from here on out. They get to the championship game, that means they would have beaten 3 ranked teams and won probably 6, 7 games in a row. Tournament committee loves to see that.
Well, they have another opportunity.
Michael Lewis.
Another opportunity tonight against
who do they take on today?
Wisconsin. And they're 18 and Nebraska is 18-15, by the way.
See?
But the kicker is they were 6-14 in Big Ten play.
Well, what was Indiana?
That's true.
And if they roll off 5 wins in the Big Ten, well, that kind of quashes the problems. Hey, hit up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Like or follow us on Facebook. If you can't catch us live each day, which you can do so on WPW, Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 in Southern Indiana. Also, 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. But you can find us at IndianaSportsBeat.com, thedailyhoosier.com, and at thegruelingtruth.net. You can follow me on Twitter at JimCoyleSB. Or you can find the show podcast on any place that you find podcasts. Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play. The usual suspects. Man, yesterday's game was just terrible. Yeah. I don't know that I even want to name names right now, but there was 2 players specifically I asked in the locker room. With all that's on the line, how can you possibly come out flat? How can this team come out flat? Because it's everybody, to a man, we didn't have the energy, blah, blah. Everybody on the free world knows you didn't have energy. Everybody in the free world knows you didn't come out and play. You don't need to tell us that. What we want to know is, Why? You can't ever get the why. All they do is tell you what you already know. Yeah, I already know that you all didn't play. I want to know why. They don't have answers. No one had the answer. That's not
Phil,
direct.
any predictions for tonight's game?
Don't have the answer. Did you get that on your system?
Stupid pop-up ads. They make me so mad.
Pop up on what?
Like, if I go to a website to check out stats from the game, the stupid ads play. It pisses me off.
Well, keep the volume turned down.
Well, it's coming. I'll explain that later. But, yeah, I mean,
okay.
The Indiana game, it was a topic I really knew we'd get to today, but I didn't really want to get to it. What an awful game. 17 turnovers. 17.
Oh, it was awful. Man, I knew early, and I should have posted something, but when they got their second or third turnover, it was early. Yeah. And it was only 2 or 3 turnovers, but it was early. And I'm like, ooh, that's not a good sign. Because it was a careless turnover.
Yep.
And man, oh man, did it roll. I think 8, maybe 10 turnovers in the first half alone. But the biggest thing is, if you looked at the stats, what you would see is they keep things like points off of turnovers. Well, let me tell you how many points off. 24-6 is the margin.
Ugh.
Indiana had 17 turnovers. Ohio State had 16. But Ohio State turned Indiana's into 24 points. Indiana, 6. Indiana out-rebounded. If it wasn't for there was at one point Devontae Green had 14 points, which equaled all 5 starters.
I mean,
Justin Smith 0 for 5. Rob Finney 1 for 6.
The starters only outscored Devontae Green by 6 total.
Yeah, it was just, and we talked about this lifeless personality that they had. I just don't see that being functional for any team. They'll probably end up in the NIT. I doubt they'll turn it down. But a wasted season. I think the 8th time in the last 11 years that no NCAA tournament.
It's crazy.
That's just not acceptable. That's for teams like Nebraska or Wisconsin or Iowa. Indiana is in an abyss right now. And they have to come out now if they are going to maintain their status as a blue blood, in my opinion.
Yeah. Some would say they've already lost that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think they are on that way. It's just this team is this team. They gave us a glimpse of what they could be, but resorted back to what they are. A team that is not driven, self-driven. A team that cannot shoot. A team that lacks self-motivation. A dysfunctional team. You got to give Archie time to get his guys in. Now, the next question, can he get his guys in? Keon Brooks making an announcement tonight on where he'll be attending college. I got to be honest with you. For the first time, I may be the last guy, but to move the needle from Indiana to Kentucky for him, but consider the needle moved. Keon Brooks will not be coming to Indiana. Archie Miller has lost this recruit.
I don't anticipate he goes to Indiana either, but if he does announce that tonight, I'm not going to be shocked. Trace Jackson Davis will be at his announcement, by the way.
Really?
For what it's worth.
That's unique.
Right. My thoughts exactly.
Man, I should have held out, huh? I could have been the only one.
Well, and then Keon Brooks' mom was talking a lot on Twitter last night with both Armaan Franklin and Trace Jackson Davis' mom. Found that interesting.
Well, you never know. Yeah. I mean, a trio of Indiana kids, that could be their mindset.
Yep.
Hey, let's do this thing. The parents could be talking, hey, let's do this thing. You never know. You just never know. It would hopefully that Keon Brooks picks up the Indiana hat or however he has it set up. It would be nice to see him play for Indiana.
With the way this season's gone, what would that mean to see him pick Indiana tonight?
It would be a humongous boost to Archie, to Hoosier Nation, but that's the problem, though. Hoosier Nation, they blow things up too much. The Romeo thing, man, they hung on that like it was manna from heaven.
Yeah.
And it was a Fergeezy. We got a lot to do on the show today. Todd Leary's with us. We'll talk IU basketball, of course. The season's not over.
No.
They're going to have a postseason opportunity one way or another, whether it is the NCAA or the NIT. They're not going to turn that down.
Not the opportunity they would have liked, but
Todd Leary's on the show today. Drew Davis is on the show. We're going to talk some Indiana high school basketball. There's a lot of action this weekend. Trace Jackson Davis is in action tomorrow against DeJuan Jones and Ben Davis, right?
Yep. Fun little matchup.
Down in Washington. I may have to go down to that.
Probably be a pretty good atmosphere. Hatchet House.
Absolutely. I've never been to the Hatchet House.
I have not either.
My high school got beat by the Hatchets in 1983 at the 83 semi-state in Terre Haute at Indiana State by Craig Noodles Neal, who played for the Washington Hatchets then, who went on to play for Georgia Tech. We had Carl Liebert on Floyd Central's team. He would end up playing with David Robinson at Navy. So all kinds of little backstories back in the days of high school basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Always fun. The fabric is interwoven, man, across the state. It's incredible. The stories that come out of that. We got a lot to get to today. I hope your day's off to a good start. We can keep ahead in that direction as we're heading towards the weekend. You're listening to Indiana Sports. We're back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along ride here on this Friday as we prepare for the weekend. The Big Ten tournament is underway in Chicago, Indiana, up there yesterday. Knocked off by Ohio State, 79-75, in a game that was not that close for much of it until Indiana made a run at the end. They decided to play. I was reading an article. I can't remember if it was Greg Doyle, I think, but it said it was the score was, I think, 63-43 at 7:43 or whatever, and Indiana woke up, hit the alarm clock, and rolled over and got out of bed. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
People are pissed off. Fans are. And I think part of it is because they feel they were hoodwinked by this team. They suffered through 12 of 13 losses with them. Then they give them life. They show them how that they can actually play when they've been 4 in a row. Barely losing to Purdue and Iowa along the way, and then reeling off 4 wins in a row over people like Wisconsin and Michigan State, looking like a solid basketball team, and then needing just a single win to get into the NCAA tournament. They come and lay an egg against Ohio State. They don't. Not only do they not show up, they don't play, and they don't have any answers. Do you have any sound from yesterday?
I do, yeah. Let me touch on that first because I was pretty upset. I really like what you said there, that we feel like this was a hoodwinked type of season. It was. I mean, absolutely. You thought the biggest game that this team has played all year long, in that game yesterday against Ohio State, the one game that they needed to show up, and they didn't. And it was extremely, extremely frustrating.
No, what's frustrating is asking them that question and getting no answer and being told, I don't know. I don't have that answer. Yeah. Well, how do you not have the answer? It's you that didn't show up. How do you not? I mean, and it's not like this has happened one time. See, that's the thing. Something happens once, it's an anomaly. This has happened repeatedly. This is the mantra. This is this team's identity. This is who this team is. A team that plays with a lackadaisical, laissez-faire attitude until the chips are on the line. That's a culture, man. Yep. That's a culture that's got to change. That's a culture that has to be eradicated.
Well, to your point, Romeo was asked after the game yesterday, and in typical Romeo fashion, it's pretty short, but he was asked why this team was not ready to play.
I mean, we don't have an answer for that one. I mean, we just didn't come out ready to play, and they did.
I don't have an answer for that. They came out ready to play, and we didn't. What?
We already knew that. That's what I don't understand, and not just him. I asked Justin Smith that, and he got the same response. I'm like, well, if you all don't know, who knows? Because it's you all that didn't play. And this has happened numerous times. Yeah. There's a culture within this team that is not good, that is not... who are the de facto leaders of this team? Romeo Langford and Juwan Morgan. Do you see either of them leading this team?
I would say in terms of leadership, it's more so Juwan than Romeo.
Do you see them leading this team?
No.
No, you do not. You do not see leadership on this team. I'm not saying there's not any under the boards or behind the curtain, but there is no outward leadership on this team. There is no vocal leader. There is no emotional czar for this team. They play without emotion. And I'm sorry, but that is beneficial to a degree, but it becomes detrimental when you need something and you don't have anything to rely on to boost you. And they don't.
Tim texted in the show.
You have to have a Michael Lewis.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Tim texted in the show, said, Romeo and Juwan are the stars. They should have stepped up.
That's exactly true. Yeah. Kevin texted in, or Travis rather, IU needs to figure out how to care more, or I need to figure out how to care less, because I'm still pissed.
That's perfect. That's the best quote I've heard about this.
And it's true. It's people are pissed because they feel hoodwinked, and it's about effort. That's the thing, because this is not the first time this has come up. It came up a ton of times during the losing streak.
Arguably the worst time.
There's a culture on this team that has to change, without a doubt. There are players that just have to go, that are going to be gone, that need to be gone, and probably not the players you think I'm talking about. But this team needs a lobotomy. Yeah. They need an infusion of life They need an infusion of somebody who loves to play the game. They need an A.J. Moye, a Jordan Hulls, a Tom Coverdale, a Todd Leary, somebody with some fight and some life.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it from no one on this team.
Other than Al. I feel like you've got to give Al some credit on that.
Oh, you know what? But that's fine. But guess what? Al Durham doesn't do much. He scored 9 points on 3 of 8 shooting yesterday, but he hadn't done much.
No, not lately. No.
Up to that point. Romeo was 4 of 12 again. Rob Fennessy, 1 of 6. Justin Smith, 0 for 5. If I never saw Justin Smith on the basketball court again, it would not break my heart. I'm sorry, but he is just soft, and I don't understand his point. Devontae Green, without Devontae Green, this team would have gotten beat by 30 points.
Yeah.
Devontae Green, the much maligned Devontae Green. 26 points, career day, 9 of 15 shooting, 8 of 10 behind the three-point line. He hit as many three-pointers as Ohio State.
It was a pretty incredible shooting performance by Devontae yesterday. Even the long Steph Curry type range threes he shot, or money, he was by far the reason they got back into that game.
He was the reason they were in the game.
Yeah, to start with, yeah.
He scored 26 points to start with, period. Without him, they get beat by 30 points.
Yeah.
14 points to 14. He had 14. The starters had 14. That's 5 people.
Unacceptable.
There needs to be a wholesale change after this season. I mean, this Minnesota was a deal breaker. Well, it was a deal breaker long before that for me.
Yeah.
And if this isn't another deal breaker, then there's got to be some concerns.
Tim puts it perfectly on the text line. It's like when one player gets hot, the others just play bad. That's what we've seen all year long. You'll get one guy play well, the rest of the team folds.
Usually, yeah, if the shots aren't going, they sulk and they just go into the tank like a bunch of little millennial babies. They don't buck up and keep playing.
It's true.
Until they realize that this is our last shot, and then they make this run. It's a pattern, man. This has not happened once or twice. This is a season-long pattern. Then you've got 2 guys from Indiana on Ohio State's team. Part of the reason that Ohio State was kicking Indiana's ass.
Yeah.
C.J. Jackson from Indianapolis. Musa Jallow from Bloomington.
Jallow was so big on the boards for them yesterday.
Who was?
Jallow. He may not have ended up with a lot of rebounds, but he was solely responsible for 3 or 4 tip outs that ended up getting picked up by Ohio State players.
He played great defense on Romeo.
That too, yep.
There's a lot of ways you can make inroads in a game, make an impact on a game.
Yeah.
Justin Smith is a pretty boy and is only about style points. I don't think I have a name for that one.
What's your thoughts on that?
Tommy, that's Tommy. Well, you can call him what you want. I just call him soft. I think he's soft. He comes from a privileged background, and he has no go get it. The 6'8", 48-inch vertical leap, what a joke that was.
Yeah.
Did he use that? No. Not at all. More about laying the ball in, finger rolls. Just dunk the ball. Use that 48-inch vertical leap. Have some aggression and dunk the ball. Send a message.
Right.
Well, he's sending the wrong message.
Oh, and look, you're not asking him to be Zion Williamson out there. Just do what you're capable of. Do what you should be capable of.
Do something.
Do something.
26 games, 26 points, 24 points, whatever he had against Michigan State. You know how many points he had yesterday?
I don't.
0. 0 for 5 shooting. 0 for 2 3-pointers. Why he's shooting 3-pointers, I don't know. Why he would ever see the floor again if he ever shot another 3-pointer, I don't know, and that's on Archie. I don't know why he doesn't know that you are to never, under any circumstance, shoot a 3-point shot again. That is not your shot. That is not what you do. Don't do it. Why is he out there shooting 3-pointers again?
Oh, he had that one game where he had the 24, 25 points?
No, that's because he doesn't fear the repercussions.
Maybe
that's
true.
why you do something. Yeah. When you know you're not supposed to, or does he know it? Has he not been told, don't shoot? I don't know that he has.
Oh, that's
surely to gosh, he's been told that's not your shot.
Oh, that's the thing. I mean, maybe we're not there at practice. Who knows how he's hitting them at practice? I mean, because we have seen Justin Smith with the ability to hit them.
I don't care how he hits them in practice. How does he hit them in games?
Yeah, not.
He can shoot free throws till he's blue in the face. He's a 50% free throw shooter. That's what matters. The reality is what matters, not practice.
Tim Texan says, let's just put this season to rest. Don't want to see them lose the first round of the NIT.
Well,
realistic possibility.
Turn down they're not going to turn down the game, though.
No.
Because it'll be a home game. It will be a home game for them. Unfortunately. The NIT. Not what anybody expected this season to be.
No. Or wanted it to be.
Now you've got Keon Brooks, an expected, coveted recruit that is not going to come this way. That's something else that they've got to fill. That's a void they got to fill. That's a player. That's a type of player that they were expecting to get and not getting now.
Yeah.
You got to go and replace that.
Well, and I talked a little bit yesterday about all the replacement players that they have in place if Keon doesn't come, but that's what basically what you just said is they're not the same type of player Keon is. You're not going to find another Keon Brooks. I mean, those guys could come in and fill a void, yeah, sure, but they're not Keon.
Look, until you have elite talent, you're not going to be an elite team. That's simple. And Indiana does not have elite talent. You need 3 guys. You have to be pulling in high production from 3 guys a night each game.
Consistently.
And it doesn't have to be the same 3. But it has to consistently be 3 at least. 3 solid performances. They're not getting that. They're not getting 2 solid performances consistently. They get 1 generally. Yesterday it was Devontae Green. Against Michigan State, it was Justin Smith. I forget what game it was, but when Juwan went off, the Rutgers game, I guess. Yeah. Rutgers. It was Juwan Morgan. You know who it hasn't been? although he's been very consistent, Romeo Langford.
Yep.
And yesterday, the driving lanes cut off and blocked with double team and awaiting double team, so he opted not to do that and to not challenge that. First time, only the second time in his career that he did not shoot a free throw.
Wow. Speaking of Romeo, Tim texts in and asks, why does Romeo just stand in the corner? Did anyone teach him how to move without the ball? And where did Justin Smith go?
Oh, man. Who knows? Who knows? We've got to hit a break. Tommy also wants to know, what grade do you give Archie after 2 years? Good question.
Let's answer that when we come back.
He's at a C+. We will do that. We will do that. More to come here on Indiana Sports Beat. Todd Leary's on the show today. Drew Davis is with us as well. We'll be back with all that. Any more here on the Sports Beat right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this Friday. Hope we can get your weekend off to a good start. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Just Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Plenty of going on this weekend. Indiana softball in action. I think they must have a tournament going on. They've got Ohio and St. Francis playing. St. Francis and Toledo. Indiana plays Toledo at 3 o'clock today. And 5:30 they play Ohio. But baseball's back at the park. Indiana taking on Canisius today. That's at 4 o'clock. Great day for a ball game. That's going to be a little chillier. It's going to be chillier than it was yesterday.
Yes.
Windier probably. Man,
there's no way
70s,
it's wind. There's no way it's windier today than yesterday.
Yeah, well, the bomb cyclone they call it.
That was insane. Insane. Baseball team struggling, by the way. Just 7-8 overall.
Yeah, what have they done here recently?
They are 2-0 at home.
Cincinnati lost to Cincinnati 7-5.
And then lost to San Diego and Oregon State in the games, 2 games before that. Oregon State, though, number 1 in the country. So not bad.
Seton Hall was a loser to Indiana in softball. So there's that. Indiana's been winning, man. They've been winning a lot.
Yeah. And every sport but
Indiana
basketball.
beat Washington. They beat Washington in baseball. But, yeah, where it counts on the basketball court, not getting done. An NIT season.
Again.
For the 4th time, or only 4 times in the last 8, or no. For the 8th time in 11 years, Indiana will not be playing in the NCAA tournament. That's not acceptable.
Right.
I mean, that's just simply not acceptable. This is not a team that should not have made the tournament. That is the problem. That's the issue. Injuries aside, had they played with some effort. So did the injuries affect the season? Yeah, they did. They prevented it from being a really, really good season. But even if you don't have those injuries, I'm not sure how great of a season they have because they don't have the effort to play.
Right. Yeah,
I think someone like Jerome Hunter, he's going to be a leader.
Yeah. And just watching him.
And you can laugh if you want to, but it's going to be like a Marco Killingsworth.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about when Marco was on, he talked about, hey, I'm coming every day. I'm going to come at you. That's that's how the players used to be. All players. They had that self-push. Kids today, man, they all don't have that anymore. And when you get an entire team full of them, well, I think this is what you get.
Yeah, Devontae.
You've got to have some people that are type A's, man.
Yeah. Devontae was asked something similar to that after the game yesterday. He was talking more so in terms of confidence and asked if this team, if this was a game that they were confident that they would be able to come in and win.
Yeah, we were definitely well prepared. We thought we did a lot of good. We thought we did good on the scout, and we were ready to come in here and play. In terms of you,
they were ready to go in there and play, he says.
Well, Devontae was.
Yeah.
Devontae doesn't get down. He misses 5 shots. That's the one thing about Devontae Green. He misses 5 shots in a row. His head's not going to be down. I got news for you. He's going to be hunting that shot. Confidence is not a problem. If you could put Devontae Green, his confidence in Romeo, you'd have a badass.
Yeah.
A badass. But that Devontae moxie, I got to tell you, it's needed to give this team some semblance of a pulse.
Yeah. Was definitely needed yesterday.
What did Archie have to say yesterday?
I mean, he was...
I was interviewing players. I didn't get to hear Archie.
Yeah, Archie was pretty upbeat.
I'm not asking you to explain it. I'm asking you to play it.
I know. I was just explaining that all things considered, he was pretty upbeat after the game. They asked him what he saw in the game. Let's hear what he had to say.
Combination of things, obviously offensively we weren't scoring or, turning it over. And then I think just our overall toughness on the ball, wasn't good enough. When the screens hit us, in my opinion, we died on a few, and we had to stay a little longer than we needed to in rotation. And I thought they delivered the ball out of the ball screen a few times off of, the corner pass, and they made some timely threes. We struggled. We just did. We struggled for whatever reason. We struggled on the ball today. If you look at their guards play, if you look at C.J. Jackson and you look at Keyshawn Woods, 35 points between those two guys and 9 assists and 3 turnovers. Guards win at this time of year. They got to make plays. They got to make shots because it's difficult, and those guys made some really, really big baskets for them inside out of the post. I thought Woods in particular, he may have scored the last 7 points, or at least 7 in a row in a tough stretch when we couldn't do it. So those guys played well. And, Caleb, let's be all honest with you, if Caleb isn't, an all-conference player, I don't know what one is. And, he hasn't played in the last 3 games. That drastically changes your structure of what you're doing. I thought he did a great job getting back. They did a great job getting him the ball. And, they're a tournament team. And, at the end of the day, they advance, and we wish them well.
Archie's a patient man.
Very.
Is he too patient? He sure has to see. He exhibits a lot of patience with this team. And I ask in seriousness, is he too patient? Why did it take the Minnesota game for it to be a deal breaker? That was pretty far into the losing streak.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it was toward the end. It took that long for it to be a deal breaker? Really? I see one game like that, and I have a concern. I see 2. I'm like, whoa, something's going on. 3, something's got to be done. It took like 8, 10. Why? Where's this patience coming from? Again, I ask, where's the patience coming from now that you've seen that this is a distinct pattern? What is patience going to get? Is that just simply because you know that this team can't do it? Well, who's going to do it next year? You're not going to have Keon Brooks. You're going to have Romeo. You're not going to have Juwan. Who are you going to have?
I was actually thinking about
what are you going to do next year?
I was actually thinking about that. In terms of next year, I don't know that it's going to be all that much of a drop-off. You'll have Devontae Green. You'll still have Al Durham. You still have Deron Davis. Those are 3 guys that have played really well here down the stretch now.
Who are your 2 leading scorers of this team?
Romeo and Juwan. I'm not saying it's not going to hurt.
Are they going to be here?
It's going to hurt.
You're losing your 2 leading scorers.
Right.
Not just your 2 leading scorers, probably 60% of your scoring.
Not good. It's far from ideal. But
it's concerning. But I don't have a problem with that so much as answers. How about just provide some answers? That's what I'd like. I'm sure a lot of other people would like to know. How can a team, with what it had to play for, come out flat? I just, for the life of me, cannot understand that.
And Archie was also asked after the game last night what it's going to look like moving forward for this team. Let's hear it.
We'll wait and see. It'll be difficult. Our resume at the end of the day, if you put it up there with a blank sketch, I'm sure it compares favorably to some other teams. We've played a ridiculous schedule and obviously have beaten teams that obviously made the tournament. And I think, the one thing is in this stage when you're comparing everybody, can you beat a team in the tournament? Can you win a game? And this team can win a game in the tournament because it's played good ball here lately, and it's also played good ball early. When you're able to beat a Marquette, a Louisville, you're able to get Michigan State twice, you're able to get Wisconsin here lately. Those teams are all highly seeded teams. So are we capable? Yes. Did we do enough? I'm not sure. I know if we are in the tournament, I believe our guys are capable of winning a game, but for me to speculate, it's hard. I know that our league is the toughest in the country this season, and to play the schedule that we've played and be able to sort of come up with our head above water here these last 3 weeks is a good sign. So we'll take whatever they give us. You obviously earn what you get, and for us right now, we'll just kind of wait and see. But I think our league in general, though, will be represented well.
Archie Miller with comments about the future. What do you think? Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367.
Tim texted in.
I got to tell you, go ahead.
He said, do we really want to hear today's headlines?
Well, they don't involve Indiana.
A little blip.
So there's that. But there's got to be some serious questions going on right now.
Yep.
I mean, serious questions about next year. But again, I go back to the fact that there is a culture change that needs to happen, and it cannot happen fast enough. This team needs an infusion of life. We thought that they gave us a glimpse that they had found their way out of the abyss, only to fall right back into it with no explanation of how they got there. It's like they're sleepwalking. Oh, I'm sorry. How did I get here? I have no idea. It is.
We got duped.
What do you got planned this weekend? Hoping something fun. The Big Ten tournament will be going on all weekend, but it will not involve Indiana. Spring football gets back underway next week. The other conference tournaments are continuing to go on as well. Any big doings yesterday? I haven't seen any scores. I was traveling all day.
Not really. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of fun games. The Duke game was a lot of fun to watch. Zion comes back, shoots 13 of 13 from the field. No big deal.
I knew he was 9 for 9 at one point. He finished the game 13 for 13.
I'm almost positive that was his stat. Yeah, I'll make sure on that.
Wow. How about Buffalo? They absolutely crushed Akron, 82-46. They were only a 10-point favorite in that game.
Easy money there.
Villanova back on the winning side. They beat Providence yesterday, 73-62. Iowa State beats Baylor out in the Big 12 tournament, 83-66. Virginia with an easy win over North Carolina State. Cruised 76-56. For tournament, all the tournaments in the different conferences going on right now. I'm just looking at some of their bigger games. Xavier, they got by Creighton 63-61. They were only a 4-point favorite in that one. Oh, Creighton was a 4-point favorite in that. Get out of here. My, how the tide has turned. Kansas State, they win over TCU. Nevada, number 14, Nevada, they win over Boise State. Yeah, number 16, Virginia Tech losing in overtime to Florida State 63-65.
That was a fun one. I'll take back what I said.
Plenty more to talk about. Todd Leary's on the show today, Drew Davis as well. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back with much more after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
This hour is brought to you by Sweetland Waste and Removal Service, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, welcome along, Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle with you on this Friday. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Plenty to get to on the program today. Todd Leary is with us, as always. We're going to talk some IU basketball, which is not a very good story to tell. Also, Drew Davis from Pigs.com joins us. Lots of IHSA action as the semi-states are getting underway this weekend. We'll talk about those matchups as well. Plenty to get to. Before we do all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 15th day of March 2019 as Indiana drops their first game in the Big Ten tournament 79-75 to Ohio State. Devontae Green with a career-high 26 points. In other Big Ten action, Nebraska defeats Maryland 69-61. Minnesota needed overtime to beat Penn State 77-72. And Iowa over Illinois 83-62. IU men's swimming team qualifies 10 swimmers for the NCAA championships next week. They are one of only 9 schools to get double-digit invites. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 15th day of March 2019. For more information, make sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
And welcome back. Indiana out of the 10 tournament, likely out of the NCAA tournament with a loss yesterday to Ohio State. We'll find out on Sunday when the selection committee makes their final decisions, but not looking good.
No.
Just like it's also not looking good for tonight's announcement with the Keon Brooks. He is expected to select Kentucky as his pick on where to play college basketball. We'll find out tonight at 8 o'clock. You can find it all over the place, so you don't even have to watch. I guarantee you. Just wait. There's jokers that are waiting just to post that up as soon as the cake comes out of his mouth.
Speaking of watch, Tim asked, is the announcement on TV?
Not to my knowledge, but it could be broadcast by something or someone on Facebook Live. I'm sure that someone will be doing it.
Yeah. You'd imagine.
No doubt. It's a high-profile announcement. It's involving Indiana and Kentucky. I'd say.
And then one other text into the show. I think we as a fan base are tired of waiting till a coach gets his players, quotation marks, his players, biting my tongue, but can you imagine the Cats missing the tournament 8 out of 11 years? Same excuses every year. 2 Sweet 16s since Coach Knight left 19 years ago.
Well, how many Sweet 16s for the 7 years before he left? I'll tell you, 0.
Yeah.
But Indiana basketball hasn't been Indiana basketball for 7 years prior to Bob Knight leaving. The 93 season, the last good season Indiana's had, other than 2002 when they erupted and made it to the championship game. But I'll tell you, if you want to find out how truly bad it's been, the Big Ten tournament, no coach has coached in that more than Mike Davis. Mike Davis is your wins leader, and he's the only coach from Indiana to have a winning record in the Big Ten tournament. And that's with 13 appearances, no less.
That's sad.
It is very sad.
Why is...
But Archie has to get his players before you can condemn him. Not that you should. I'm just saying, before you can condemn him, you have to allow him to have the opportunity. Now, along the way, there's some things that are bothersome. I'm not going to put this effort on him or the lack thereof because I think it's a culture that needs to change. It's these players. There's certain players that just they have to go. They don't have to. I'm not saying they're bad kids. They're just not good. They're not bringing anything. They're not bringing what needs to be brought. This is business. It's a basketball team. It's there to win. It's not there for anything else. It is not there just to participate. If that was the case, they would not keep score. They would not track.
Why is the Big Ten tournament such kryptonite for Indiana?
Because it's coincided with the worst period in the history of Indiana basketball. That is the simple answer, the easy answer. Look when this tournament came about, the late 90s. What happened to Bob Knight in the mid to late 90s? He was done. The last 7 seasons at Indiana, he never got past the second round of the NCAA tournament. He never fared when he won 1 game in the 3 appearances at the Big Ten tournament. But also, since then, you've had Mike Davis. You've had the Kelvin Sampson debacle. You had Tom Crean, the rebuild. Now we're here. It's been the kryptonite because it has simply coincided with the worst period in Indiana basketball history. Because had this tournament started 20 years ago, the numbers would be vastly different. Because Indiana was the dominant team in the conference those previous 20 years. Adding 2 national championships, multiple Big Ten titles. That's why it's a kryptonite. It's just timing. Indiana, as an institution, has made constant mistakes in hires and who they put in charge of certain programs. That's why it's the kryptonite. It's not the tournament. It's just because it's coinciding with the terrible period of Indiana basketball.
Yep.
Hit us up on the text line. Thoughts, comments, questions, 812-269-6367. Make sure to like or follow us on Facebook. You can follow the show if you don't get us as live on Big X Sports Radio, WXVW 1450 96.1 in Southern Indiana, or on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. You can always find us on Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, any place you find a podcast. The rebroadcast will be there. Also, thedailyhoosier.com, indianasportsbeat.com, and, of course, thegruelingtruth.net. You can find me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Hey, keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving Southern Indiana since 1995. Give our friend John Sweetland a call, 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling. Get your questions in for Todd Leary. He's on the show today. Drew Davis from Pigs.com. We're going to talk a lot about IHSA with Drew. A lot of big games this weekend in the 4A, the matchup. Center Grove and Ben Davis. Man, I can't wait to talk about that one.
Yeah.
That's my man, DeJuan Jones and Ben Davis going up against Trace Davis, the IU commit. Bar Reeve in the Class A game in Washington. Washington's hosting a semi-state. This Bar Reeve team, man, there's something.
Unbelievable.
25-2.
Yeah, they're good.
And as I'm looking down the schedule. Up north, the Class A games, Lafayette Central Catholic versus Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian. I thought that was the undefeated team. Who was the undefeated team that
Delta.
Luke Brown lost to?
Delta.
What happened to Delta, man?
I think they're still in. I want to say they're still in.
No, they're not. Yeah, I'm just telling you, they're not. I'm looking at the lineup. No, that's a 3A team, right? Marion Culver Academy and Silver Creek versus Indianapolis Crispus Attucks in 3A.
Delta lost to Marion.
Wherever you go.
Oh, Lordy.
However.
Stupid ads again. But yeah, Delta lost to Marion, so Jalen Blackman.
That's funny. So, Luke Brown killer, Delta, and someone told me yesterday that he was held to like 4 points in that game.
Wow.
I'd like to find out. I need to find out for sure on that. Talking about Luke Brown, the guy that the kid that has been scoring all the points this year. But, of course, he's beaten by Delta, the undefeated team, who is in turn beaten by Marion, led by Jalen Blackman, who truly has the shot at catching Damon Bailey's record. But the trick is Damon Bailey got off to a big his freshman year. He averaged like 23 points a game as a freshman. Wrap your head around that. 23 points a game as a freshman.
think that's pretty good.
He also made it to the state finals. He also made it to the Final Four 3 out of 4 years.
That helps.
Got a text in from Hagman, it looks like. I just lost it. Where did it go? I think that was on Twitter, so I can pull that back up.
Well, while you look for that, I'll read a text in from Tim. Said he found out that the Brooks announcement is on CBS Sports HQ. So there you go.
There you go. So Knight was winning 20 games the last 7 years except for one, I believe. Can't say that about you lately, can you? No, but I was talking about the NCAA tournament. They didn't get past the second round. And I'm not sure that they won 20 games every year, but whether they did or not, I know in the tournament they did not get past the second round. I can tell you that Mike Davis won more NCAA tournament games the year he took Indiana to the championship game than Knight did in his final 7 seasons in Bloomington.
Wow.
So there's the stat for you that jumps out. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Keep them coming. Indiana baseball hits the field today at the Bart, 4 o'clock. If you're up in Bloomington. Soft also, they have a couple games today as well, 3 o'clock and 5:30 against Toledo and Ohio. I think they're ranked in the top 15 now, the softball team is.
Well, let's check.
Drew Davis is with us next. Got and see a high school game this weekend, and I'm assuming the Silver Creek game will be broadcast on WXVW.
I believe so, yes.
And I'm going to have to find out from Nick, but I'm pretty certain there'll be games on the ref as well.
Indiana, by the way, dropped to 19 in softball this week.
The Bear texted in and asked, have you guys already spoken about the fact that Trace Jackson Davis is going to Fort Wayne for the announcement? Yeah, Justin mentioned that, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of things about this announcement that just it leaves it completely up in the air.
Yeah,
I got to be honest with you. I have no idea where this is going. I was being the lone holdout and saying that I still thought Indiana had a chance, and of course they still have a chance. Everything is pointing towards Kentucky. But here's the thing. He's not going to get the minutes in Kentucky that he's going to get at Indiana. Playing in Kentucky is not going to mean anything personally to him. He could be a part of something big if he did come to Indiana with Trace Jackson Davis, with Armand Franklin, with the guys that are there right now. They could, it's a matter of time before things turn around. But they have to be turned around. And it's going to take players like Keon Brooks and Trace Jackson Davis and Armand Franklin and Rob Finnessy, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to get those guys. You have to land those recruits in your state especially. I think if he doesn't, I think it's a mark.
Yeah.
Other recruits are watching. They're paying attention. They pay attention. We got a lot coming back. Drew Davis is on the show. We're going to talk about some IHSA basketball. Todd Leary's on with us as well. Hit us up on the text line in comments or questions for either of those guys, 812-269-6367. We'll be back with that and much more here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, Located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway, Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs, Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
Yeah. Wasn't weird. It was typical Indiana.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need a $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Different only because they had played 4 good ones. Cheating it. Differentiating the other 13 they had played before.
That was part of it, and then the way they played in the final, like 7 minutes, played that well was kind of surprising.
Not me. I mean, they put the effort out. That's how they played. It's just funny to me that they can't.
And welcome back here to Indiana Sports Beat on this Friday, as we are now joined by Drew Davis. Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Pretty good. Jim?
Have you lost me?
I thought I lost you.
Oh, no. No, we were just talking about Indiana's performance yesterday that Drew was saying he was surprised by it, and I'm like, yeah, not me. It's typical Indiana with this team. When the effort's there, the success is there, and when it's not, it's not. But we got a lot to talk about with Drew. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But IHSA action, man, a lot of big games this weekend, brother.
Yeah, you got a couple big semi-state games now that we're in this round, and you look up north, starting up there, you got the defending 3A state champion in Culver Academy versus Jalen Blackman and Marion. That
is going to be a great game right there, man. Yeah, where is that? That's at Elkhart Central at the north side gym. That is at 6 o'clock game or 5 o'clock Central. Man, that may be that's definitely one of the 2 games of the day, I think. Marion and Culver. Wow. You talk about 2 great programs right there. Those are 2 of the best programs in the state.
the thing that I like about that matchup is it's kind of a clash of styles. You have Marion, and Jalen Blackman and their guards. They're very free flowing. Where you have Culver, they're going to play both ends of the floor and make you work for everything you get. So I think that matchup will be one that it's kind of interesting because when you have two different styles, it's always fun to see two teams that kind of clash play each other.
And then, of course, in the other 3A game, you've got Indianapolis Crispus Attucks and Silver Creek out of Southern Indiana with an Indiana recruit for the Dragons.
Yeah, I think that could be a really interesting game as well. I'm not really just sure about that one because I'm not as familiar with Crispus Attucks as I am, Marion and Culver. But Crispus Attucks is usually a really good team. And, Silver Creek played some really good ball last week. They're a really good team. I think that game could be an interesting game to watch. I'm not really sure what's going to happen per se, but I'll be interested to see what Trey Coughlin and Silver Creek's able to do in that game.
That's a 3 o'clock game, 3 o'clock Eastern time. That is at Seymour. Also at Seymour, the 2A semi-state between Linton Stockton and Shenandoah. I'm not familiar with either of those teams, I'll be honest with you.
No, neither am I. But out in Washington later on at the 6 o'clock game in Class 4A, you have Ben Davis and DeJuan Jones, the Ohio State football commit, versus Trace Jackson Davis and Center Grove. Trace now 1 game away from playing for a state title, and he'll come to the Hatchet House and play in front of a big crowd there. And, it'll be very interesting to watch Trace and DeJuan kind of go at it. I'm sure DeJuan will try to kind of, move Trace out of his spots that he likes to work in, and we'll see if Trace is able to, kind of adapt to that and then use his wingspan to finish over him. And I'm very excited to see those two go at it because I think they're going to present a challenge to each other, and I think it could be a very fun matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's to me maybe the game of the day. Center Grove and Ben Davis with Trace Jackson Davis and my man DeJuan Jones, the big 6'9" footballer. He's like watching a figure skater on ice on the basketball court. He's amazing. But also in Washington, the Class A semi-state between Bar Reeve and Bloomfield. I know Bar Reeve is just an awesome team, and they're pretty big for a 1A school.
Yeah, they got a good bit of a size, and they've been having a great year. One of their times I saw them play this year, I saw them play against Caleb First and Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian. Oh man, I tell you, I don't know if they can play that well again, but they played an unbelievable game that day, and it was a very close game, even though Bar Reeve lost. One of the teams, they had 40. Had just a spectacular game. Like I said, it might have been one of those one-time deals, but if they could play that well again and they were able to meet back up with Blackhawk Christian, I do think it'd be a very exciting game.
Lafayette Jefferson is the site of one of the other semi-states. Class 2 Frankton and Andran, or Dan Dockett-U, is the 12 o'clock game. And then the 4A contest is Carmel and Penn State. That's another big game there. At 2:30 Central Time in the 4A game up there.
Yeah, you got the Penn Kingsman versus Carmel. You certainly think going into that one, Carmel has to be the favorite there. Carmel won the MIC. They have a great record. Really good team. You got John Michael Malloy, the Butler commit, leading the way, and they get some other nice pieces and a youngster named Pete Suter. That's a very, very good young player. So got to watch. But Carmel's certainly the favorite there, and it'll be interesting to see what Penn has for them, and if Penn can kind of play spoiler or play the upset there.
And then the other site, Elkhart Central, the Northside Gym, the Class A, Lafayette Central Catholic taking on Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian. Fort Wayne Blackhawk Christian, 26-2. Man, they're one of the best teams in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, they really are. They got a 6'6" wing, and Frankie Davidson, the coach's son, He's going to University of Indianapolis. Very nice player. He's been really good for them this year. And then they have down low, they have Caleb First and Utah Gator. And he's had a really good year, especially after coming back from his finger injury in December. He's really been superb. There's a play last week that I thought was very pretty in one of their regional games. He blocked a shot, brought it down, brought the ball coast to coast, and laid it off to his guard that he let in stride, and the guard dumped it back up to him for a lob on the fast break to complete a big dunk. And you get to see the unselfishness from Caleb First and his teammates, and they're a group that really just plays really well together, and they seem to be clicking at the right times. And I think this game could be a test for them, but Blackhawks playing some very good basketball right now.
Talking with Drew Davis from Pigs.com. And, Drew, we talked about the other game there at Elkhart Central is the 3A game between Marion and Culver. But the thing that I want to talk about, Marion, they beat Delta, who was undefeated. And Delta is the team that beat Luke Brown and the team that he is on. And in that game, was Luke Brown held to 4 points or something, a very, very low output?
I believe he just held something like 15 to 18 points, somewhere in that range. I'm not real sure, but I know he got, from what I understand, he got some points early. Delta really honed in on him, focused on doing the things they needed to do to keep him from getting to his spots. And after that, he had a tough night, and you got to give credit to Delta. They're obviously a really, really good team with their record and the success they accomplished this year. But they were able to kind of have their way with Brown early in that contest before ultimately going on to play Marion and then Jalen Blackman, and that was a close game. Probably closer than the score looks last week in the regional title, but Marion was able to walk out of there with a win, and now they'll be seeing the defending Class 3A state champions, the Culver Academy.
Yeah, there's four. There could be all four state championships could end up with a player in it that Indiana is recruiting. I mean, you got Trace Jackson Davis in Center Grove. You've got Trey Kaufman at Silver Creek. Jalen Blackman at Marion, and was it Caleb Culver? Was it Culver?
Trey Galloway.
Trey Galloway. So just a lot of potentials in there to watch and keep track of. A lot of great games too. So get out and watch high school basketball this weekend. Looking forward to that. But also big news tonight. The expected announcement of Keon Brooks Jr. up in Fort Wayne. Many people now expecting that to go Kentucky's way, and we'll find out tonight, of course. But that to me, if that does come to be that he does not pick Indiana, that is not just a big loss, but to me that's a black mark on Archie losing a player of that caliber out of state.
Yes, I do see what you're saying there. At the same time, sometimes these things they go your way, and sometimes they don't go your way. You're not going to get every top player you go after. And with Keon Brooks, Indiana staff legitimately done every single thing in their power to try to land his services. They've hit all the right notes, but I think what you have to realize in this recruitment is when Archie Miller took over, Keon was probably left end of his sophomore year. Michigan State was embedded deeply at the McCollum. They looked like they were the sure favorite there, and I guess to make up this much ground, and I mean come up short, it's obviously disappointing. But a year and a half ago, if you would have told Archie Miller if you would have had this chance with Keon Brooks going to decision day right there, and get a meeting. What is it?
Yeah, but that's all fine and well. That's all fine and well, but they're not losing this kid to Michigan State. They're losing him to somebody else who wasn't even on the radar then. So to me, and you talk about closing down the borders. That was the mantra of closing down the borders, and this is letting one through the cracks. And I think that it's important because it is a big time recruit. It's one of just 2 5-star recruits in the state this year, and for him to have been seemingly Indiana kind of the favorite for a while, and then to lose that, that's not. I don't think that's a good look as far as the recruits go, in my opinion.
Right, as you mentioned, big time recruiting Deion Brooks Jr. But with big time recruits come big time recruiting battles, and you gotta face a lot of the best in the country, and Kentucky's obviously one of the best. They have a lot to sell, but the pitch for Kentucky, they gets very intriguing for a lot of kids, and for Keon it certainly has. And sometimes on the recruiting trail, you run into situations like that, and there's things where you can do everything in your power correctly and not land a kid, and I think that's kind of the case here with Keon. And then you got to think, if you do that, you feel good about yourself. Obviously, you want to land them all, but this is one of them where Archie Miller simply, for whatever reason, could not come up with Keon Brooks. And
why is that? Because he was the favorite going forward. I mean, that's the thing. That's a question for Keon, I guess you could say, after tonight's over. Absolutely. I don't think we'll get that answer because it would probably require hurting some feelings. So I doubt we're going to get the true answer. But for Kentucky to swoop in after Michigan State was the initial favorite, then Indiana came in and was the odds-on favorite, and then now it looks like it's probably going to go Kentucky's way. That's the life of recruiting, but when you're losing an in-state recruit like that, that's a blow. I don't think anyone can see it differently. It is a blow to Indiana's recruiting efforts, I think. Right. But you also got to keep in mind for every Keon Brooks that leaves the state, you landed a Trace Jackson Davis or a Romeo Langford. You look in future years what's coming down the road. You position yourself well with the guys like Christian Lander and Caleb First, and I think that's what will be key to watch. Can Archie continue to get these in-state guys and make guys like Keon Brooks an anomaly, or does it get harder to lock down the state? One quick question. The Bear wants to know, Trace Jackson Davis is apparently going to be there in attendance tonight. It's a public announcement. Trace Jackson Davis is going to be there. Anything to that, or is that just typical because I'm supporting my friend? I look at, I do think it's noteworthy to look at that, but I look at that as like a friend supporting a friend. Keon and Trace are obviously very close. They play together. Friendship's more than basketball, so I just look at that as Trace going to go up there just to support his friend on this big day. Sounds good. Drew Davis, we appreciate you. I may see you out there tomorrow in Washington, man. We got to hook up. I got to get credentialed for the games, but looking forward to it. Thank you very much. No problem, man. Have a good one, and I'll get you taken care of. Sounds good. DrewDavisandPeace.com joining us as he does each and every week. Hey, we've got a lot more coming up. Todd Leary is on the show next. Stay tuned. We'll be talking to him right after this on Indiana Sports Beat.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 WXVW in Southern Indiana, and 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
And welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this lovely Friday as we're halfway through March, trying to get into spring. Joined now by the ghost of Christmas past, Todd Leary. Todd, how are you, sir?
I am good this morning. How are you?
Oh, well, as good as I can be after that debacle up in Chicago yesterday by the Hoosiers. As their tournament life was in their own hands, and they came out and played in a way that we had seen a lot of. Unfortunately, it was back during that 12-game losing streak, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it was Indiana fans, luckily, a lot of times have a short memory. And I'm me being one of those, and we had fallen victim to believing this team was over the hump of playing like they did yesterday. And, you know, it's such a difficult situation when you know, you're kind of out of the tournament. Everybody puts it out of their mind, and then they play so well for that many games in a row, and they look like they're playing well together and they're having fun. And, you know, you have to beat a team like Ohio State, which, you know, Ohio State played well, so you give them some credit. They played well, but they're not that good. And Indiana just came out and let them dictate the pace of play, and they just kind of dominated the whole game all around. And that's not something that, I mean, this team's not ready to play in the NCAA tournament. They don't deserve based on their, you know, body of work that they've done, they don't deserve to play in the NCAA tournament. And so that's just a tough thing for, Indiana fans to say and have to understand and believe is true.
I agree. I was thinking that earlier that they absolutely don't deserve it. And yesterday they knowing what's on the line, they come out flat and don't give the performance needed. And if you look at the box scores, it's almost reminiscent of the game. They were so close. They only had 2 players in double figures, but they had 4 of that. 3 of them with 9 points, 1 with 8. So they were close to having 1 shot away from having 6 players in double figures, which would have been imposing, but they didn't. They were short of that, and therefore they were short of the game, and they were just short in winning, 75-79. So they were just short because they didn't start playing until 7 minutes to go. Inexplicably, they had 3 straight games where they had halves of which they only turned the ball over 2 times. They had 17 turnovers yesterday, and Ohio State really made them pay because 24 points off of those turnovers versus 6 for Indiana, and Ohio State's 16 turnovers. So they were very efficient when Indiana handed the ball. The ball.
Yeah, they did. And if you take away the scoreboard and you just sat there and you watched possession by possession, and you went through that basketball game, I think 99% of the people would have said, yeah, Ohio State would have won pretty easily. They just had a different demeanor about them. They looked like they were confident. They looked like they knew they were going to win. And they just had a different air about them. And if you didn't keep track of the score and you just watched the game and watched how both teams were conducting themselves going up and down the court, they looked more composed. Ohio State looked more composed than Indiana, and they looked like they expected to win. And, that's the frustrating part. Yes, it's super frustrating that Indiana put themselves in that position. This team was good enough and had enough opportunities throughout the year. They beat enough really good teams that they should not have been in this position yesterday. But the fact that they were, and they had fought their way back into contention, and yesterday was pretty much a play-in game for the NCAA tournament, and whichever team won was in, and whichever team lost was most likely out. And, Indiana played like a team that if I were the committee and I watched that game yesterday, I wouldn't put them in because it looked like there are 68 teams in the country that are even hungrier than Indiana, let alone, deserve to be in the tournament. And I just the whole attitudes yesterday and the way that they came about on the floor, they looked like a team that was 29-6 versus whatever 17-14 or 15 or whatever they were. And so it's just it's frustrating as an Indiana fan to have to deal with that kind of situation. They should have never been there in the first place, but then once they had that opportunity and didn't take advantage of it, they let it slip away. And when you let opportunities slip away in any area of life, it's just disappointing, and that's where they're at right now.
Of all people, Devontae Green was the man who led Indiana yesterday, and I mean literally put them on his back and drugged them with 26 points on 9 of 15 shooting, 8 of 10 behind the three-point line in 31 minutes. Off the bench, mind you. At one point, he had 14 points, which equaled all 5 starters' point production of 14 points.
Yeah, I mean, you and I talked about it at Bubba's several times this year that there wasn't anyone who was having like a performance that you would just say, we can ride that. We can, that dude is the reason why we won. I mean, you can look at Juwan Morgan back in the Butler game, was probably that scenario. You can look at Devontae yesterday, and you had someone have an outstanding effort and make a bunch of shots, and you didn't take advantage of it. Everyone else didn't step up. Everyone else didn't play even, level with their abilities or what we expect out of them. And so, Devontae played above what we expect out of him yesterday. And besides that, name another guy that you think, played a great basketball game. And you can't say that. There aren't any, I don't think. And so it was just there
aren't.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing. Indiana fans are pretty smart. They see things for what they are. They recognize good basketball when they see it. And, they didn't see a whole lot of it throughout the whole season. They did in the big games, and they didn't in the games that Indiana just had to win. And that just that makes the summer long, and it makes, the recruiting, you don't second guess it, but you start to sit there and say, yeah, well, we don't really know how good that guy's going to be until we see him play, because, we're all burned a little bit right now by thinking, Romeo was going to be the savior, and with Juwan being a senior, this team had the making of being able to do something special, and they just didn't. And so that's like I said, it's just a frustrating situation to be in.
Talking with former Hoosier great Todd Leary, I asked some of the players in the locker room yesterday, and none of them had the answer. And that was, with everything that's on the line, how can this team, of all teams, come out and play so flat? And none of them, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. And if they don't have the answer, I don't know who does. But as a former player, as a player competitor at that high level, how when you have what's on the line, what they had at their fingertips yesterday, how can an entire team come out and play that flat? I mean, in your experience, I mean, I know you've probably not been around that, but how's that even possible?
Yeah, this is kind of how I looked at that. I talked to you a while back on this show about how, the beginning of games used to, if I got nervous about anything, I knew we were prepared well. I knew we had a good game plan, and we had to go out, and there's something that happens at the beginning of a game, and there's something that happens in the first 5 to 10 minutes of a game that Coach Knight got us to believe in, that you go out and you dictate the way the game is going to be played. And that means when you want to run and go up and down the floor and score easy baskets and shoot early shots, you do that. But when you want to slow it down and you want to make 7 passes and make them play defense for 35 seconds, then, then you do that. And, Indiana didn't come out and do that. They didn't dictate how the game was going to be played. I definitely think Ohio State did. And we could always rely back on, and I'm not saying they weren't prepared, but we could always rely back on the fact that not only did we feel prepared, we felt over-prepared. We were so tired of walkthroughs and practicing switches and, pop quizzes from Coach Knight on, if this happens, what do we do? And you just had to be sharp and know what was happening all the time. And, we could never have the situation where we went into a game and said, hey, we executed the game plan exactly the way we wanted to, and we got beat. And that gives everybody a super confidence level. And really, I was saying it at the beginning of this really long statement I'm making, but getting off to good starts in the game and you dictating how the game is going to be played. There's not one thing I can say of how you do that or what really does that, other than you kind of, for lack of a better way of saying it, you kind of smack them in the mouth as soon as the game starts, and they understand that you're in control and things are going to be done your way. And that's just that's something that's why seniors are have more experience and understand how to play better than freshmen when they come in, because they know that you got to go in and take control of the game. And those guys yesterday, I definitely thought they had Ohio State had a confidence level about them because they had Wesson back, and they came out and they knew what their game plan was, and that was get him to touch the ball as many times as possible. And it looked like they did a great job of executing that. So I would say they were the ones that came out and smacked Indiana in the mouth, and Indiana just didn't recover. When they recovered, there was only 3 minutes left.
Yeah, and what I saw in that first, you talk by the first 5 minutes, I remember distinctly what I saw was Indiana with a couple of quick turnovers off lazy, self-imposed turnovers, and I saw Justin Smith shooting from beyond the arc, and I remember instantly thinking that is not a good start to this game for Indiana, and it did not get any better. They continued to let Ohio State, as you said, dictate the pace of play. They forced Indiana into turnovers. They took away the driving lanes. Romeo did not attempt a single free throw yesterday, as opposed to 10 the game before that. That's his milieu, getting to the free throw line. They were shutting that down, and he just didn't challenge it enough, I guess, to get to the line. But only the second time this year he doesn't shoot a free throw.
Yeah, and it's this team had that issue, I'll say, early in the year when I think the beginning of the game, they came out and they let the game be dictated to them. And you know what it's like getting me started on the whole Justin Smith and three-pointer issue. I was super proud of him. I really felt, you and I have talked a lot about this, both on and off the air, about how, when the last few games, it seems like someone has talked to him. Like he's had some open looks from three and he's not taking them. And then yesterday when he takes 2 3-pointers in the first 6 minutes of the game, I promise you, you know how I am about that. That's the thing that sets me off the most about this team, not because I don't think Justin Smith is capable of making those shots, because we saw there are games that he is. But that's not the best offense that Indiana can run, and that's not the game plan that Indiana should have coming into a game. And when you see him take those shots because he's open for a reason, and the other team is leaving him open because he's, a 17% three-point shooter. And that's even having one game when he made 3 or 4 or 5 of them, whatever. But it's lack of discipline. It is lack of understanding what the game plan is. And if that is the game plan, then that's the problem. But I know it's not. I know that's not the game plan. And the fact that this late in the year with this much on the line, the fact that Justin Smith still thinks it's okay to step out there and shoot 3-pointers, it just tells you that either it's not being brought up, they're not addressing the issues, or, he just doesn't listen. And that I said this to you on the show a couple of weeks ago, that it's not a matter of Justin Smith would have to stop taking those shots, because after he was told to stop taking them, if he took another one, that would be the end of Justin Smith on the floor. And I'm not talking about for a couple of minutes. I'm talking about for the rest of the season. And he got benched in Iowa, and I think we all kind of thought, all right, the point's been made to him, and he played fantastic for 4 or 5 straight games, and he was a big reason why they were on that winning streak that they were on. But yesterday, it was like everything got thrown out the window, and we went back to what they played like, 4 weeks ago. And that's not what any of us wanted to watch, and that's not what good results have come from, and that's what happened yesterday.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't understand if he's being told not to do something, why he does it. But I will point out that he only played 15 minutes yesterday, so maybe that point did get across, but he was 0 for 5, 0 for 2 from behind the 3-point line. He provided no points. But, not a great way for Indiana at the end of the season. They're likely headed to the NIT now, but we'll see where we go from that. But Todd, thank you for joining us. As always, we'll find out on Sunday what the next step is, and we'll go from there.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
You bet. Todd Leary, former Indiana great, joining us, as always, talking about Indiana and not sugarcoating it. What I love about having Todd on is he tells you how it is, and it's the truth. That's how I think it should be. The sugarcoating stuff doesn't get you anywhere.
That's what I'm sitting here thinking as I'm listening to that interview, is they definitely didn't sugarcoat it.
Well, no, but
Good
he
stuff.
comes from a different era.
Sure.
He doesn't come from the millennial era. He comes from when the players all came to play. And if you didn't, somebody else would do it for you. But, oh, well, we're glad to have him on the show. Make sure you tune in next week. We'll be back with plenty more on Indiana Sports Beat. Make sure you keep her tuned to right here. You got plenty of high school action this weekend and to listen to. If not, get out and see a high school game. But that's going to wrap it up for us. For Justin Kalen, I'm Jim Coyle. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the radio.